Strength Warehouse presents Go Heavy or Go Home podcast. I am your host, Nate Boley. In this podcast, we talk about strength, fitness, nutrition, and all things Strength Warehouse related. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today we have a special episode with a good friend of mine named Andrew, and he is a doctor of chiropractic. Super awesome to have you on, man. I'm just going to give you the floor and you can introduce yourself and we'll just go from there.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Dr. Andrew Shahas. I'm a chiropractor here in Bend and Redmond with Tompkins Chiropractic.
Okay.
I'm one of three chiropractics there. We have Dr. Matt, Dr. Carter, and myself. I'm from the Hillsborough area, Oregon, born and raised. So
I was born in Hillsborough.
Okay.
At Tannisburg Hospital.
Yeah.
1986.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was born in Springfield,
okay,
but grew up in Hillsborough my entire life.
Cool.
So I've been there 30 plus years. Parents have lived in the same house for 30 plus years.
That's awesome.
Got to watch all the changes and deal with.
Did they all move over here with you?
No, just my wife and I.
Just your wife and I?
Yep.
And you, I should say. We moved over here in, 89, and then my parents went back in early 2000s for jobs, and my parents are split up now, but my dad moved back here, and my mom's moving back here hopefully this next year.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, keep going. Sorry on that.
No, it's, I mean, that's kind of what we did is, get that little bit of separation.
Sure. Just,
a nice mountain range in between.
Mm-hmm.
But then now it's like, okay, my parents are both retired, so at some point, who knows, they might end up
We'll see.
out here. Dad doesn't really like the cold. He grew up with that in upstate New York.
Yeah.
Mom can deal with the cold.
Yeah.
And so as long as they have a fireplace, I think that's their main thing.
Just wait till you guys have little ones and they're going to want to come over.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Just go ahead and talk a little bit about like your background in chiropractic and kind of where you come from in that respect.
Yeah. So I kind of began my journey early 2010s. Dislocated both shoulders multiple times.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Whether it's from wrestling, lacrosse, weightlifting.
Yeah.
I was doing, the last one was a pull-up.
Okay.
And instead of lowering myself down, I just dropped down.
Yeah.
And ripped it right out.
Wow. You can get that kind of like in the kipping type pull-ups probably more?
Yeah, I think I was trying to do that because I was like, I'm tough shit, I can do this.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to cuss?
Well, no.
Okay.
That's okay. Tough, that is not going to be a terrible thing, but no. I guess I did not say that. Yeah, it's a clean podcast.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I thought I was tough and wanted to show up the guy that I was training with next to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can do this too. And just popped it right out.
And you said, nope, can't do that.
Yep. So from there on, I wanted to learn, how to prevent it and how to rehab those types of injuries. I've had injuries growing up.
Yeah,
playing
for sure.
multiple sports, being active.
What kind of sports did you play?
I played lacrosse throughout middle school, high school. Played a little bit of summer league after high school. Grew up playing baseball and got stuck out in left field. So I was like bored, lots of energy, not a great combo.
100%. You're like running around in circles like, come on, bring me the ball.
Yep.
Yeah.
Currently, I learned pickleball from a good friend of mine out here, since that's the thing to do in Central Oregon right now.
I'm pretty sure the orthopedic surgeons invented pickleball.
I would not be shocked if that's who did it, because there's so many injuries from it.
I know.
And I rolled my ankles, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think literally the same day.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this hurts.
It's a fun sport, but it's very dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the fences are only waist high.
Yeah.
So my friend who's 6'4",
yeah,
if he runs into that fence, he's going to the next court.
Absolutely.
There is no blockage whatsoever.
100%.
And then play basketball every now and then. I'm terrible, but I love the running around.
Cool.
It gets a good sweat on.
Yeah, back and forth.
Yep.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
I really wish they had lacrosse when I was growing up. They just didn't have it in Sisters where I grew up at. And then I remember coming to Bend and I was seeing people do it. I'm like, what is that sport? That looks so much fun. I never got a chance to play it, but oh well. So yeah, your exercising background, what kind of stuff were you doing then?
Then I really just wanted to get strong, get big, and get heavy.
Okay.
Growing up,
you wanted to gain weight.
That was my main goal. Was as much mass as I possibly could.
Okay.
I grew up a twig. I was soaking wet, maybe 72 pounds my freshman year of high school.
Oh wow.
At 4'10".
Okay.
So very small.
Yeah. What did you graduate at?
I graduated at 5'9".
Yeah.
I'm being generous.
Yeah.
Probably 5'8". I didn't finish growing until freshman year of college.
Yeah.
Maybe 120 pounds.
Okay, I was going to say, I graduated 127 pounds, so we're right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm almost 220 pounds.
See, that's my next goal, is I want to hit 190 to 200 by the time I'm 35.
Okay.
And
yeah, it'll probably happen.
4 years, I think I can do that.
Yeah.
Went to school, started in architectural engineering.
Okay.
And then
you went the opposite way.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Did that, and then I was like, okay, like math is not fun in college.
Sure.
It's easy in high school, not in college.
Absolutely.
And then went into business finance, personal finance.
Okay.
And that had a terrible internship, got injured, had surgery, and I was like, you know what? I'm more in this medicine rehab area.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Talked to a really good friend of mine down at Oregon State, and he convinced me, hey, just come learn it here.
Okay.
And
so somebody told me, and I don't know if this is true or not, but you have like a massage therapy background as well?
yes.
Okay.
So after Oregon State, I went to massage school because I didn't want to go into chiropractor school quite yet.
Okay. What was the thought process on that?
I didn't want to take out the loan.
Gotcha.
I was
It's financial.
kind of that
You're-
panic
yeah.
of, oh crap, that's $100,000+
Yeah.
for an extra 3 years. And at the time too, I didn't want to do grad school.
Yeah.
Because I originally went to Oregon State for athletic training.
Okay.
They changed it that year after
No.
I entered from a bachelor's degree to a master's program.
Gotcha.
So I was kind of like, okay. So I got the exercise sports science degree.
Yeah.
And then went into massage school. That was a year long.
Sure.
Practiced for about 2.5 years
Okay.
at Renew Chiropractic in Beaverton, so shout out to them
Okay.
for hiring me. Thank you. But that was where I really got to learn the integration of not just the manual therapy, but the exercise therapy as well.
Yeah.
Being able to move patients around, have them move, work on them, get up, do it again.
Cool.
And that's basically how I practice now too. And
Yeah.
in 2020, made the leap to chiropractor school.
Okay.
So
How much longer was that? Another 3 years?
That was 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So massage school was in 2017 to 2018.
Yeah.
And then chiropractor school was 2020 to 2023.
Yeah.
So
You've done a lot of school.
yes.
Yeah, a lot of school. Happy to be out?
Yes.
And
I'm glad
practice.
not to have homework.
Yeah, that's so, man. You're always learning. You always got to be learning, right? But homework, man, that
Yeah.
stuff sucks.
Now it's learning on my terms.
Yeah.
And how I'm going to just improve
Continue
my
that.
job
Yeah.
and career.
Is there continuous education stuff that you know about in the chiropractic field?
Yes. So we are required every year to do 20 hours of continuing education.
Okay.
Just like your physical therapists, medical doctors, osteopathic doctors, we all have specific requirements from our specific board.
Okay. So they're all Oregon State accredited or federally accredited type stuff?
Yes. And to that, yeah, you have to match what Oregon wants versus what
The federal government wants. Yeah, yeah.
So Oregon takes precedent of, since I'm here,
Yes,
I can do
state.
a lot in this state comparatively to like Washington.
Yeah.
It's more so the billing aspects that change.
Yeah.
And what that does is unfortunately dictates what you can do.
Sure.
Or what you want to do. You can do it, not get paid for it.
Yeah.
Or
there's a weird spectrum, a scope of practice with chiropractics too, right? Like, you guys can like give people stitches.
yeah. So we take a minor surgery course
Yeah.
and learn stitches.
Yeah.
We also, if we want to do more hours, I believe it's like 300 something hours,
Yeah.
we can do proctology
Okay.
or we can do obstetrics.
Wow. Okay. Very wide scope for chiropractors.
Yes.
Interesting.
We
I
can-
wonder why do you have any idea why?
I have zero idea. We had an instructor in school that I believe he said he did the proctology side of things for a little bit.
Yeah.
And just because that was fascinating that he could go do it, so we did it back in the 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
And then he kind
Interesting.
of gravitated towards
The chiropractic
the
stuff.
chiropractic side.
Okay, cool. So just take me through, like, what's your, like, how do you help clients and athletes? Because that's kind of your niche, right? You want to go into helping, like, athletes and, people that are really active.
Yeah, so for me, what I like to educate my patients.
Okay.
And so what that means is whether it's the education on movement, the education on what I'm doing
Sure.
for them, and then the education on how they can interpret what they're feeling.
Okay.
A lot of it too is, I mean, just because you're feeling pain doesn't mean you're causing damage.
Sure.
It just could be like, an arthritis type thing, movement is the best thing for it.
100%.
It's going to hurt when you move, but you're not causing more damage.
Gotcha.
And once you bridge that gap with patients of kind of changing the way they interpret pain and the different types of pain there are, that helps with treatment.
Okay.
In any aspect, whether it's
100%.
from chiropractic, personal training, physical therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, all of that, when you can kind of change and accept it, but also be like, you know what, I can do something about it.
Sure.
Things go better.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And so you are kind of more of the soft tissue manipulation and then chiropractic, or like how do you incorporate
so
those?
I do a lot of manual therapy. Just my background is massage therapy. That's just kind of what gravitates me towards it. But incorporating that physical therapy realm as well. That is one thing. I had a great physical therapist for when I had my shoulder surgery.
Sure.
But my physical therapy assistant at the time was going to chiropractic school.
Okay.
And they opened that door of like, this is kind of how you can merge the two.
Yeah.
And it really taught me like, there's one right way to do it.
Yeah.
And that's not to do nothing.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that kind of opened that area of incorporating both realms into one. And so primarily I do more the manipulation, soft tissue work.
Yeah.
But with all patients, I give them something to do.
Okay.
It's whether it's tools in your bag to have when you start having a flare up.
Yeah.
Or if it's, hey, we're having this right now.
Yeah.
And the regular exercises aren't touching it. Let's do something new.
Sure. Let's go a different path.
Yeah. I don't want to be doing the same thing over and over again.
I've had a couple of shoulder injuries on my right side, and I have still the stuff from when I went to go have it, and so when it flares up, I'm like, I gotta do those exercises again, doing the stuff, and then it's, I think this happens with everybody, right? They have a problem, the pain, they go see somebody, they get the corrective exercises to get fixed, they do them for a while, they stop being in pain, they stop doing those things, they go back into pain.
Yep.
They go back into doing this stuff.
Yes.
It's like this cyclic thing. Yeah, right. It's like just keep doing them and you probably would be fine. But it's really boring, miniature like movements, and they're so boring that nobody wants to do them. Right?
No, because it's not going to give you that biggest bang for your buck type thing of when you train your deadlift, when you train a bench press, you're going to see those results within the first few weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas rehabbing training is like, I'm going to do, 1,000,000 reps of this to stabilize the shoulder. I'm not going to notice that stabilization increasing until I'm throwing heavy weight.
Yes.
And so it's part of that psychological game of like, I know I need to do this, but gosh, this is boring.
Yeah, it is super boring. Let's see. What's your passions about the industry?
Honestly, being able to, and it's kind of funny, not see a patient for a while.
That's cool. So you want to get fired?
A little bit. Because if I'm doing my job right, and we get this patient out of pain, and whatever maintenance schedule they're on for their body, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And I've had a few patients already that are like, hey, those exercises, I've never done those before until you gave them to me.
Yep.
I don't have this pain anymore.
And that's
and it's kind of like awesome.
Yeah.
Like, let's check in a week.
Yeah.
And then, hey, if we're still holding well, whatever your schedule wants, like I'll give you the tools to be like, here you go. If you start feeling it come on and it's manageable, I want you to manage it.
Sure.
But if it gets to a point of, this is changing, or like, I just can't get past it, you come back in and that's where we work on it.
Yeah, that's great.
And so I think it builds that trust of, like, they just
want to crack me and then come back next week.
Instead of following that typical model of chiropractics.
Yeah, and there's definitely some stigma out there in the chiropractic world. A lot of people think it's voodoo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you heard that before? Like, what is
the snake oil sales.
The snake oil sales, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I have seen some chiropractors that are literally like, okay, cool, this blah blah blah, like do some measurements or whatever, and they go click click, okay, see you later, and then like I walk out, I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good. About 10 steps later, it goes click, right back into spot, and then I'm like, oh god, I can't move again. Yeah. And then you have to call them like soon again, and that's kind of like, there is chiropractors like that, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. I think there's that type of stuff in every industry, right?
Yeah.
So you guys are just trying to take it to a new level where you're not doing that.
Yeah,
and
you
a
don't
lot
want
of that comes from probably the education, the manual manipulation of the muscle tissue, the actual chiropractic work, and then the homework.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Like all those combined together is going to give a holistic health plan for these people where they're not going to have to continuously come in every single week to get their back cracked or something like that.
It's a 50-50 relationship. Like, I'm going to work as hard as I can to get you better, but I need you to put in that same effort.
100%.
Because if you don't, and especially it's even with the small exercises, I know they're annoying.
Yeah.
Trust me, I need to be doing them right now too for my own shoulders and back.
Yeah.
But in the long run, it's going to help you get over these humps
100%.
and not plateau
Yeah.
and not need to come, hey, it's been a week, I hurt, I need these tools again. But again, life happens.
I think we're
that.
literally in the same industry, but we just do different things. Like I have to do the same thing. Like you can come to me and I'm going to coach you, but if you don't do the homework and the exercise that I tell you to do in the right fashion to actually show up, it's worthless. Don't come back because you're just going to keep on going through this stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah. What are some common misconceptions about chiropractors in general?
All right, so this one, I did a Google search because it's like, I know what they are, but I wanted to see what the public said.
Okay.
So the most common one is that we are not real doctors. We
Not
are.
true. Not true.
We are real doctors. We go through the same first couple years of a med program as your DO, as your MD, as your physical therapists. We just specialize in different areas because our focuses are different.
Yeah.
I don't need to necessarily focus on the pharmacological side. I don't need to focus on the microbiological side. I need to focus on the adjustments, the rehab, the knowing, and we all do this though, which is great because we all need to know what are your red flags for patient to patient. And what's nice is I don't have to do a residency. So I don't have to do another 4+ years of school, but you want that in a doctor.
Yes.
Because, and especially when they're handling so much information. They need that extra training.
Yeah, and when you have a doctor, their scope of practice is so much higher, right?
Yes.
So they need to have more training and residency and learning from other people in that
Exactly. You wouldn't go to a chiropractor for surgery.
No.
You wouldn't go to your surgeon for chiropractic work.
Probably not.
Yeah.
No. You wouldn't go to your chiropractor to get on some antipsychotic medication either.
Yes.
Which you don't want to deal with those people anyway, right?
No.
Yeah. Okay, any other?
The next one that I found, and this is kind of, again, it stems from chiropractors in the past, is that we are all the same.
Yeah.
We do the same thing, and it's not true, but true. Like, yes, we are all chiropractors.
Yeah.
But it all kind of depends on what school you went to. There are different thoughts of theories out there, which is totally cool. Like, I mean, whatever works for the patient will work.
Yes.
But, like, for myself, I'm not going to be the same as the chiropractor down the road that, you know, if they do only activator technique, which is using the little click gun.
Yep.
I do more hands-on.
Sure.
I do more exercises. There may be a chiropractor that really doesn't do a whole lot of hands-on, but does more exercises.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, we're all chiropractors, but just like patients, we're not all the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And same with doctors. They're typically their goal is to just get somebody healthy, and get them pain-free or whatever it is. But everyone's different.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Any other ones that you thought were pertinent to?
A third one that I found was adjustments are dangerous. If they were viewed as, yes, sometimes they're dangerous, but that's because whatever the condition is makes it dangerous.
Okay.
And that's when we listen and a red flag goes off in our brain of, oh, we're not going to be adjusting that area.
Yeah. What would be an example of something like that?
An example of that would be someone with a Chiari malformation, which is where the brain comes through the opening at the base of the skull and is hanging below that level.
Okay.
You're not going to adjust through there in concern for damaging the brainstem.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Something I never knew.
Yeah.
Never knew. Okay. What should a client look for in a chiropractor? Like when they go to they're just going to call around, like, hey, who's got an opening? My back's messed up. I need somebody to,
That is a great question. have to do that, that is A-okay. But making sure you find someone that you jive with.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that A, they're going to listen to you.
Yeah.
And B, they're on the same wavelength as you.
Sure.
You don't want to go in and, I mean, if you want in and out and you don't want a whole lot of other things, then you need to find that in and out. But to only do that too, is you need to experience it.
Sure.
Because, I mean...
I think you're probably missing part of the experience and part of, like, the point just by going and getting cracked. I think there's a place called Walk-In Chiropractic. I think it's an actual business here in Bend. And I have no idea. Yeah, I think you can just walk in, like, somebody will just adjust you.
Oh, okay.
I think it's just right over here, actually.
Oh, wow.
I don't have any experience with them at all, so I'm not trying to say bad things about them at all. But if there's somebody like you that you're just like, hey, I got to get in now, walk in and get adjusted, and
yeah,
that's all you got to do, I guess.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called Walk-In Chiropractic or something
for
like that.
emergency treatment. That's a great way to do it. For the only place that I knew that would be like open on weekends or something like that was the Joint.
The Joint, yeah, okay, yeah.
And so that's that kind of, you walk in, get the adjustment, walk out.
Okay.
But again, that's like, if that suits your needs, then that suits your needs. But if you're looking for a little bit more rehab, if you're looking for a little bit more manual therapy work, if you're looking for whatever you want, the only way to really do it, unfortunately, is by trying out different places. And making sure, having those conversations, and being able to find someone that's going to listen. Too. That's a huge
thing, and I think that's one thing that we try to do at the gym here is like, I don't just let people come in for free classes, or I don't let people come in and just, we want to know like what you need, right? And like going through all this checklist and figuring out what you need, and I think, you know, I'm biased, but I think that that's the best way to approach most of these situations. I don't want to just walk in and be like, yeah, you look like you're kind of leaning to the side, let's adjust you. Okay, maybe, but why is it happening over and over again, or why do I need to come in here all the time? That's kind of where I want to go to, like, the root of the problem. And I feel like that's kind of the same with you. Cool. All right. Anything else that on misconceptions you like to shout out there?
Not more than that. Those were kind of the top 3 consensus that I got right there.
Oh, and then sorry, we're on what should they look for. But yeah, we got into that. What about like any specific questions that you like to hear from clients that when they're coming in?
What can I do when I start feeling it come on?
Okay.
So like specifically low back, I give any glute strengthening. I do some stretching. I'll give stretches. I'll give exercises. But to me, that's the best thing that I can do for a patient in the in-between time. Is, hey, if you start feeling this coming, especially if you're traveling, like, you're not going to find me in Phoenix or in Denver. You're going to find me here in Bend. Or in Redmond. So it's like, okay, if I can give you, after a long plane ride, and we know we're going to start feeling it, here's these couple things to do. See if they touch them. Practice it before going on that plane ride, because if it doesn't start kind of touching that discomfort, or it starts bringing it on, let's redo it and figure out, okay, these aren't working, what will?
And so that's another thing which we touched on earlier, like their buy-in, like they're going to be, you can only do this much, but you're only with them for an hour potentially, right?
First visit's generally about 30-40 minutes.
Okay.
Subsequent visits are, 15-20 minutes.
Okay, so they're real quick. So, but your time span with them is a super short period of time, and the rest of their time they have to be able to be on their own. Because you can't be like in their pocket and be like, hey, my back hurts. Okay, quick, let's do the extra. A manipulation and fix you really quick, right? So, yeah, you're really looking for the buy-in, and they're gonna meet you at a certain point.
So to me, that's kind of that's the best question to ask, is in the in-between time, is what can I do? Other than that, just kind of getting to know your chiropractor. Those are great questions.
Cool.
Because, we're humans.
Absolutely.
We do like to talk, whether some of us show it or not. Like, there's days where I'm really quiet, but there's days where I'm like, I can't shut my mouth. So it's like being able just to ask questions.
Okay, cool. Being personable. Cool. Then, like, what do you think your, like, specific special thing that kind of sets you apart?
Well, honestly, right now, being fresh, kind of the just energy I bring
Okay. Cool.
Burnout hasn't hit me yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it never does.
Yeah.
But I do feel at some point it probably will.
It's hard when you have to work with your body all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to, like, especially massage therapists, they have to use elbows, body weight.
Yep. Elbows, forearms, shoulders,
Yeah.
thumbs.
Yeah.
Like, I use a lot of thumbs right now, and
Yeah.
I know from massage therapy it's not the way to go.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. So you get burned out, and your body will just start breaking down over time. Yeah.
But what I am looking forward to bringing, and especially out in this area, I've done a little bit of research into it, but is bringing more concussion management and treatment options.
That's probably
I
huge.
want to
for this area.
specialize a little bit more in that.
Okay.
And take some continuing ed courses in that.
Cool.
And being able to, not only with like an MVA, but I mean out here, everybody skis or snowboards.
100%.
That's where I got my 2 concussions.
Yep. And mountain biking. People
Yes.
are huge mountain bikers and racers, and hitting your head. It's easy to
Yeah,
do.
you come down when you're crashing from a mountain bike. That's gonna hurt.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
Wear your helmet, kids. Wear your helmet.
Yes.
Especially on the mountain.
Mom and Dad were right.
Yes, they
Wear
were.
your helmet.
I had my daughters were over. My one daughter, I should say, took her to like open skate.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, helmet, and she's all mad. I got a picture of her just like her dog died. And I'm like, you're gonna thank me when you crack your freaking skull,
Yes.
And we're paying for you to have, and it's gonna last for a long time. It's
Yes.
not gonna, brain injuries, it's easier every time, right? You have a concussion, it gets easier and easier and easier.
Yep.
So I've been lucky. I don't believe I've ever had a concussion, but I have never been diagnosed with it. So
Yeah, mine were never truly diagnosed. I crashed pretty hard on the mountain,
yeah.
and I mean, like I said, I've been snowboarding twice, and I've had 2 concussions.
Oh wow, that's not a good. That's not a good.
Was wearing a
ratio.
helmet both times too.
Yeah.
That's how hard I hit.
Yeah. Was it icy up there?
Yep.
Yeah.
I caught ice both times, and snowboarding is not like skateboarding.
No.
Come to think of it, it's your feet are strapped to the board.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
You can't just jump off.
Going down the mountain.
Yeah.
And tried turning, and all of a sudden the board left with me, and I just slammed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those weren't managed very well because I just went home.
Sure.
And then I'm pretty sure I had a couple during lacrosse.
Yeah.
It's a pretty violent sport.
Yes, absolutely.
And being as tiny as I said I was,
Yeah.
I hit the ground pretty hard a few times.
For sure. So we already kind of went through your athletic background. What's it look like going in the future for you? For like athleticism, sports? Are you still trying to? You said you're trying to gain some weight.
Yep, gained some weight. I took a little bit of time off from weightlifting, just with battling a couple injuries and illness here and there. I lost the drive for it.
Sure.
And in undergrad at Oregon State, I spent 3.5 years, 7 days a week in the gym.
Oh man, that's a long time.
So that was the burnout that I felt
the
from
burnout,
that.
yeah.
And not really programming correctly.
Sure.
I think I was about 175 when I graduated, maybe 180 pounds, which was great.
Sure.
And I mean, just a solid brick wall of that. But wanting to progress past that and, put on a little bit more for the winters here, because it's cold.
It's cold.
Compared to Hillsboro, it's
Absolutely.
a little cold.
Yep, a little icy.
Looking more into just experimenting with programming too.
Okay.
Never been great at it.
Sure.
But wanting to learn more and dabble in the powerlifting world, dabble in the CrossFit world. I've always been one of many sports, and I think that also applies to my weightlifting styles.
Yeah, cool.
I've never been able to just do one thing over and
And
over.
I'm the exact opposite. I like to just do the same exact thing over and over again. And in the weightlifting, powerlifting world, it sucks, but you really have to do that. There's no way to get a better deadlift except for just practicing it and getting heavier. Like, you could lift 315 for like 30 reps. It's not going to translate to a 405 deadlift. You have to just completely, you have to progress through those numbers. Now, if you could do 315 for 30, you're probably already lifting 405. But speaking of, you just don't do more reps, doesn't get you heavier weight.
No, you have to be able to train that weight in order to get there. And that's the one thing, I mean, when I hired a personal trainer back in 2013, that was, exactly what he told me. He's like, you're not just going to do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, at that same weight, you have to put more weight on it in order to gain strength, gain size, gain your own weight. And then the whole nutrition part too.
Yeah, the nutrition part's, it's hard. The biggest thing with that is, like, if you've never felt like a 500-pound squat, you're never, if you unrack it and you're like, oh crap, this is really heavy, you're not going to squat down with it and come back up. Well, you might squat down with it, you're not coming back up.
Yeah.
And so you have to train the CNS in order to be able to handle that. So a lot of times, for me, I'll do like static holds with heavier weight just to feel the weight. Or you'll do, basically for a deadlift, you'll do like a rack pull where you're pulling way more weight than you could off the floor, but your body's still able to hang on to it.
Yeah.
Bench press, same thing, you'll unrack and just hold it for a certain amount of time before you ever even take the weight.
That's a really good idea. Yeah.
Static holds, it's huge because it gets your body ready for that weight. Like if you're squatting 405 and then you're like, I'm going to take 495 for a spin. Yeah, it's not going to happen, right? But first of all, you're probably going to hurt yourself. Second of all, the CNS is just not adapted to it. It's not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
But cool. So that sounds fun. Maybe come check out one of our powerlifting meets. We have one in April down in Sisters, and we do one here, and then another one down in Sisters.
Awesome.
A couple years. Come check it out and just get the vibe.
Yeah.
We try to do a really good just get the energy going and stuff and have a lot of fun.
That's good. I mean, that's like lifting at Oregon State, the rec center there. You couldn't really blast your own music to get you pumped up.
Sure.
And so that's what you got headphones, but sometimes you need that other energy from everybody else to get through.
It's such a great time. We've invested in some really awesome speakers, and we have an MC there that just me and another guy who switch off MC. He's way better than me, but I can still do it. We just try to keep the energy going.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Future plans for growth in your career?
Like I said, doing the CEs and just more education on the concussion stuff, just with my own background, friends having concussions, and then just growing, not just in the one clinic in Bend, but growing in Redmond and kind of becoming more a part of the community. Again, I'm new out here, so it's kind of a strange face, and still learning the area. Haven't gotten too lost yet.
It's pretty small, man. You're not going to get lost.
Yeah.
You can pretty easily find your way out of here.
And then just learning as much as I can from the mentorship with the owner at the clinic that I'm at.
Cool.
And
he's mentoring you?
Yeah.
Cool. That's
so,
great.
Being able to know, for specific types of things with patients. He's very great at just I can bounce questions off and be like, hey, I ran into this today.
Yeah.
What would I do different? Did
I do right?
It worked.
Yeah.
But to me, I wanted to do this. Being able to just ask questions.
100%.
Is the
and that's
thing
literally what having a coach is all about. I've programmed and done it all myself. Done fairly well in the powerlifting world, just coaching myself. I hired a coach about 3.5 years ago now. Shit, it's almost been 4. And just being able to bounce different ideas and having somebody look at subjective or objectively and being like, try this. Well, I probably wouldn't do that if it was myself, but I would, okay, I'll humor you and just try it. And then I'm like, oh wow, that actually kind of worked. Or whatever, So having somebody else that's, maybe even smarter or just even at the same level, you guys can talk about it, and that's super cool. I like that.
Yeah. And I like building those connections too. With other chiropractors in the area. There's a couple guys that I went to school with that are starting a clinic out here. And
they just came over and chatted with us.
Yeah, they're a little bit more on the rehab side of things. And so when I have questions, it's great to be like, hey, can I text you and be I gave the patient this, what can I do to progress it? My knowledge of rehab is still pretty vast, but theirs is just magnitudes larger.
Sure. And they're kind of niching down more into the weightlifting and the strength aspect is what I understand from them. Is it Apex Performance Center? Is that what they're?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and God, I can't remember their names. They're so terrible.
RJ and Tim.
Tim, that's right. Yeah, no, great guys. We had a great conversation. They were talking. They actually worked with some guys that I know out of Kabuki in Portland.
Yes.
And so I know a lot of those guys as well.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about some interesting stuff like nerve flossing and stuff like that, and I was like, I know a little bit about that, this much, probably enough just to hurt myself. But I'm really interested. Actually, I kind of want to get them on the podcast as well, and just talk about different, knowledge points and different, advantages and different perspectives. Basically, they seem like they're really knowledgeable guys.
Yeah, and that's the greatest Rolodex to have is those different perspectives on patient care. Because again, if you're getting stuck and patient isn't progressing through,
it's not good.
Clearly, the same thing's not going to keep working.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Well, it sounds like you're doing really well in the networking group, or networking area. You joined our Ben Business group as well.
Yep.
And you're liking that so far?
Loving it.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah,
It's
getting me out of my comfort zone too. With working on the 30-second commercials.
Yeah.
I hate talking about myself.
I do too.
Yeah. And for this, I wrote down bullet points because I'm not going to be able to just spit stuff out.
Same.
Over and over.
Yeah, for sure. When I do my own podcasts, I use some of them I do off the top of my head, and you could probably go through them and listen and be like, yeah, that one's probably off the top of my head. But it's all right, it's all right. Yeah, I guess we just wrap it up, man. It's super great to have you on here. Do you have anything else that you'd like anybody to know about you or your guys' clinic, or do you have any kind of social following through?
Not yet.
Does Matt?
Been trying to. Not quite yet. I think starting in the new year we might start doing some social media stuff.
Cool.
I've been trying to have my wife help me with social media because I'm absolutely terrible at it. I post the once a year type thing.
Yeah.
But no, I'm with Tompkins Chiropractic. Okay. We're off of 3rd Street over by what's Rozak's Fish House and beneath Bend Hot Yoga.
Yep. I know exactly where it's at.
Yeah. And
we need to come over there and check you guys out. Just say hi.
Yeah. It's a great space. I'm also in Redmond off of Southwest 5th Street.
Okay.
So that main one-way downtown.
Cool.
We currently have a coming soon sign.
Cool.
We are there. We are open. Just waiting on sign stuff.
Yeah.
But no, if you're hurting and the same thing isn't working over and over again, come see us. We got different perspectives, and
for sure.
All of us are great there.
Cool.
So it's not just just come see me.
Do you guys have just one last thing? All three of you guys have different niches and backgrounds and stuff.
Yeah.
I know you all have different backgrounds, but different from the sports perspective or whatever.
Yeah. So myself, having the exercise sports science background specifically. Dr. Carter, he's got his master's in sports medicine. Okay. So with that, it's along the lines of athletic training, but instead of getting the MSATC or whatever it is, he's just got an MS in sports med.
Cool.
Dr. Matt, from his own just experience playing soccer overseas, playing soccer here in college, his own sports background is pretty vast as well. Yeah. And so, but he does more hands-on stuff. I do a little bit more just from the massage background. Yeah. Dr. Carter does a lot of stretching, a lot of his own sports medicine protocol. Yeah. And so
built up over time.
Yeah.
So are you the youngest one?
Youngest in experience, yes.
Okay.
Not sure if I'm older than Dr. Carter or if I'm younger. I don't know.
Interesting.
Oh, I might be older.
Yeah. You're 34?
31.
Oh, 31. Okay.
Yep, 31.
I'm going to be 38 in 25 days. It goes so fast, dude.
Yeah. Well, I
remember being 31. 30 and 31 were the two best years of my 30s I ever had. And then it kind of, I don't know, it's been like this. It's been a little bumpy. But I feel like 38 is going to be good. I've got some good ambitions this year for I don't want to say this on the podcast too much, but I might be taking a small break from some heavy lifting and doing something else. I've been thinking about it for a little while, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I've literally been doing it since 2009, and I've never given a break at all. Even with surgeries and stuff, I've had knee surgeries, and I broke my hand. I was like, hey guys, can you put my hand in in the way that I can grab a barbell? And they're like, really? And I was like, yeah. So I'm literally broken fingers like this, my pinky finger's broken, and I can still grab a barbell. So I can still deadlift and bench with a broken hand, Oh. It was stupid. But I still had full range of motion. I did a boxer's fracture, so I wasn't terrible. But I had a meniscus repair, just putting my foot up on a bench and still bench pressing, which I even did with my broken foot. I was like, I'm still going to bench. I don't give a crap what you think.
Yep.
So, but all right, man. Well, it was great to have you on the podcast. Let's have you back again, kind of go through that journey with you. And super great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. All right, guys. Well, that's all we got for you. 40-minute podcast. But we thank you a lot for just joining us today, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
Thanks for joining us on this epic journey of strength. If you liked this episode, please leave us a review and share with a friend. To stay connected, hit that subscribe button. All right, until next time, go heavy or go home.